Well, week 6 looked at what happened all college football season and said, hold my beer, you aren't ready for this. Leading up to the college football season, this was the one weekend everyone said to circle. And it lived up to all the hype and even exceeded this. But if you missed it for some reason, here's a recap in under 8 minutes. Coastal Carolina kicked off the action on Thursday, traveling to Arkansas State and continued to dominate on the offensive side, winning 52-20. I think it's time we start the Grayson McCall for Heisman campaign, as he went 18 for 23 for 365 yards and 4 touchdowns. On the season, McCall has thrown for 1,478 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Isaiah Likely seemed to be his favorite target, finishing the game with 8 receptions for 232 yards and 4 touchdowns. On Friday, Cincinnati continued to make a case for themselves as a legit contender for the college football playoffs as the Bearcats downed Temple 52-3 behind Desmond Ridder's 259 passing yards and 3 touchdowns and Jerome Ford's 149 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Stanford looked to continue their success against the Pac-12 preseason favorites. Arizona State was looking for revenge about David Shaw's preseason comments about Herm Edwards. The Sun Devils continued to shine at night, winning 28-10 to move to 5-1. That was only the warm-up for what would be an insane Saturday of college football. ESPN's Game Day was in Dallas for the Red River Showdown between the 21st-ranked Texas Longhorns and 6th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Texas would pounce early on the Sooners, going up 28-7 and shut down Spencer Rattler in the Oklahoma offense. Lincoln Riley benched the preseason Heisman favorite for true freshman Caleb Williams, who had not played football since his junior year of high school. Williams would rush for a 66-yard touchdown early in the second, and Oklahoma slowly started to climb their way back into the game. Williams would throw a dime to Marvin Mims.
Has plenty of time, steps up, watches downfield for Mims, diving catch!
Who would make the catch of the year to tie the game at 41. Then the Sooners would force a fumble on the ensuing kickoff, and Kennedy Brooks would take it in for another score from 18 yards out to take the lead 48-41. Casey Thompson was not done, as he would complete a 31-yard passing touchdown to Xavier Worthy to tie the game again with 1:23 left. Oklahoma got the ball back and just needed a field goal to win, but Kennedy Brooks said, "I want 7, scoring on a 33-yard rush with 3 seconds left to win 55-48. While that game was going on, there was another shootout about 8 hours east of the Cotton Bowl between Arkansas and Ole Miss that went down to the wire. With 1:22 left, Arkansas tied the game at 45, but Matt Corral and the Rebels were not done, as Corral showed he had ice in his veins with a 68-yard passing touchdown to Braylon Sanders with just over a minute left. The Hogs weren't done yet, as they drove down the field and scored as time expired. Rather than playing for overtime, they went for the win, going for 2 and failing. The Rebels beat the Razorbacks 52-51. Ohio State rolled Maryland 66-17 behind CJ Stroud's 406 passing yards and 5 touchdowns, while Michigan State beat Rutgers 31-13 between Kenneth Walker III's 232 rushing yards and a touchdown, and Jalen Naylor's 221 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns on 5 receptions, as the Scarlet Knights struggled to tackle him. Florida also bounced back with a 42-0 win over Vanderbilt, and that was only the noon kickoff games. Georgia once again dominated, looking like the best team in the nation, beating number 18 Auburn 34-10. SMU survived an upset scare against Navy, winning 31-24, while number 10 BYU was unable to stay unbeaten at home, losing to unranked Boise State. Against number 19 Wake Forest, Syracuse jumped out to a 21-10 lead. With just over 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Orange led 27-26 before Sam Hartman led the Demon Deacons on an 11-play, 73-yard, 4-minute drive to take the lead 34-27. Syracuse seemed dead in the water after a fumble with 2:42 left, but Wake Forest failed to pick up a first down, and the Orange had one last shot to tie it up against the undefeated Demon Deacons. And they did, taking it 94 yards in 2 minutes to tie the game 34-34. In overtime, the Orange could only get a field goal, while in the second play of their offensive possession, Sam Hartman found A.T. Perry for a 22-yard walk-off touchdown pass to move Wake Forest to 6-0 and 16th ranked in the nation. In the Penn State-Iowa game, the Nittany Lions would jump out to a 17-3 lead before Sean Clifford would get hurt, and the Penn State offense was not the same without their starting quarterback. Iowa would slowly claw their way back and took the lead when Spencer Petras connected with Nico Regini for a 44-yard touchdown with 6:26 left. The number 3 ranked Hawkeyes would hold on to win the game, beating number 4 Penn State 23-20. We have to remember we are now in the month of October, and when the sun goes down, things get scary, especially for ranked teams. Number 16 Kentucky would win convincingly 42-21 over LSU behind Will Levis's 5 total touchdowns to move to 6-0, and San Diego State ran all over New Mexico with 203 total rushing yards to win 31-7 to move to 5-0. It was a little different story for the other 3 ranked teams playing with the sun down on the East Coast. Number 9 Michigan would take a 13-0 lead into half against Nebraska. On the first possession of the third quarter, the Cornhuskers would score to make it a 13-7 game. The two would then trade touchdowns, making it 19-14 Michigan, before Cade McNamara was picked off by Deontay Williams, setting Nebraska up on Michigan's 13. Nebraska would take a 22-19 lead over Michigan into the fourth quarter. The two would once again trade touchdowns, and Nebraska led 29-26 with 7:08 left. Michigan would tie things up with 3 minutes left in the game, and Nebraska got the ball with an opportunity to take down their first win over a ranked team in the Frost era. On 3rd and 1, Adrian Martinez would be stripped by Brad Hawkins, who returned it for 19 yards to Nebraska's 18. Michigan would take the lead with 1:24 left, 32-29, and the Wolverines' defense shut down the Cornhuskers to win the game and survive an upset. Nebraska is now 0-10 against ranked opponents in the Scott Frost era. Number 14 Notre Dame was down 10-0 to Virginia Tech in the first quarter, but the Irish took a 14-13 lead into half. The Hokies would then take the lead back with a field goal to open up the third quarter, 16-14. The Irish would take the lead back where Tyler Buckner threw a pick 6 for Tech to take the lead again, 22-21. Virginia Tech would capitalize on another Buckner interception to extend their lead to 29-21 with just under 4 minutes left. Jack Cohn would come in for Buckner and led the Irish down the field to score and convert the 2-point conversion to tie the game at 29 apiece with 2:26 left. The Irish defense forced a punt, and Jack Cohn led the Irish into field goal position as Jonathan Dewar would hit the game-winning field goal with 17 seconds left. The Irish beat the Hokies 32-29. Texas A&M came out ready to go and took a 24-10 lead into halftime over the top-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama climbed their way back into the game and took the lead in the fourth quarter 38-31. Zach Calzada led A&M down the field to tie the game against the Crimson Tide. The issue was, Calzada, who was the backup quarterback to already injured Haynes King, hurt his knee on the game-tying play and was taken into the medical tent. Freshman walk-on Blake Boast started warming up. The Aggies defense made what could arguably be known as the stop of the season, getting their offense the ball back with the opportunity to win the game. Calzada returned on one leg and led them into field goal range. As time expired, Seth Small hit the game-winning field goal to upset the number 1 ranked team in the nation. It is Alabama's first loss to an unranked team in 100 games, and Nick Saban's first loss to a former assistant. And that's your Week 6 recap in under 8 minutes. If you enjoyed this video, check out my other videos right here. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.